Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Iman Ashraf bin Siddiq from RAS 2545B, and my partner Muhammad Amin will describe about coral reef and hydrographic survey. Coral reef are massive underwater construction made up of the bones of colonial marine invertebrates. This is because they absorb calcium carbonate from saltwater to produce a hard, robust exoskeleton that cover their soft, sac-like bodies. Coral species that build reef are known as hermatypic and hard corals. Soft corals are other types of coral that are not engaged in reef construction. According to the Coral Reef Alliance, a non-profit environmental group, these sort of corals are flexible creatures that resemble plants and trees and include species like sea fans and sea weeps. A polyp is a name given to each individual coral. Coral polyps feed on their progenitor's calcium carbonate exoskeleton, adding their own to the current coral structure. The coral reef steadily grow over decades. There are hundreds of different species of coral. According to Coral Reef Alliance, coral have a dazzling array of shapes and colors, from round, folded brain corals that is named for their resemblance to a human brain, to tall, elegant sea weeps and sea fans that look like intricate, vibrantly colored trees or plants. Most significant coral reefs now observed are 5,000 to 10,000 years old. They frequently find themselves in warm, clear, shallow water where there are lots of sunshine to feed the algae on which the coral relies. Moreover, if all coral flowers together would cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they would amount to nearly 285,000 square kilometers. Coral reefs are critical marine habitat on which many ocean species depend. Additionally, according to Hopkins Marine Station of Stanford University, coral reefs provide an estimated about $30 billion annually in direct economic benefit to people worldwide through food, fisheries, and tourism. But coral reefs are imperiled by several threats. The increasing acidification of the ocean that is caused when oceans absorb immense amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels. This increasing acidification will inhibit the coral's ability to produce the calcium carbonate exoskeletons they rely on for shelter. Besides, coral reefs are also being harmed by water pollution. Agricultural pesticides and fertilizer, oil and gasoline, sewage discharge, and salt from degraded landscape make it difficult for coral to survive, resulting in harm to the reef ecosystem complex relationship among plants, coral, and other creatures. The increasing of the temperatures due to the global warming also one of the threat to the coral reef. As the temperature increase, coral polyps expel the zooxanthellae they depend on for food. The coral lost its bright color after the zooxanthellae are lost, and all remain is the white exoskeleton. This is what we call coral bleaching. Another type of threat happened to the coral when the wrong fishing technique were used, for example, the using of the cyanide to stun the fish, blast fishing with the explosive, and overfishing with the trawlers will destroy the coral. The usage of some sunscreen that contain ingredient called oxybenzone can cause the coral bleaching too. According to Caroline Rogers and Jeff Miller, in research published in year 2008, suggested that active ingredient from sunscreen, which is washes of swimmers on the scale of thousands of tons per year, can activate dormant virus in the coral zooxanthellae symbionts and thus trigger a deadly disease.
Part 3. Connecting Marine Instrumentation and the Solution. What is hydrography? It is the science of measuring and describing the physical properties of bodies of water and the land that surrounds them. Surveying with multi-beam echo sounders is the most common method of obtaining hydrographic data. Hydrography maps out water depth, the shape of the seabed and coastline, the location of potential obstacles, and the physical aspect of water bodies to aid in the safe and efficient operation of our marine transportation system. Multi-beam echo sounder beams search the bottom of the sea as the ship passes over the survey area. Multi-beam echo sounder beams bounce off the bottom and return to the ship to calculate depth. Meanwhile, a hydrographer is a person or a group of people who utilize tools like multi-beam echo sounders to measure water depth and look for shoals, rocks, and wrecks that could pose a navigational hazard. Hydrographic survey, on the other hand, is the process of gathering data for a water body. So, how can hydrographic survey aid in coral reef problem? As hydrographic survey is conducted by using multi-beam echo sounder, it is placed on a side or bottom of a vessel that will pass over the survey area. The beams from the multi-beam echo sounder will bounce off the seafloor and return to the ship, where the depth or physical region of the seafloor will be recorded. The information can be used to create a map, such as a hydrographic map. Hydrographic map can be used to find underwater harms, rock piles, and other locations with diverse bottom. To get you a clear idea of how hydrographic survey can aid in coral reef degradation, we will take the Great Barrier Reef, Australia as a reference. The Great Barrier Reef has lost half of its coral cover in just 3 decades. We can locate the area of the coral destruction since we can see how it looks like under the water. Once we locate, we can restore the coral by using structural restoration, biological restoration, or physical restoration. This way, we can ensure the survival of coral reef of the Great Barrier Reef and grow it back to its original size. Prevention is better than cure, Desiderius Erasmus once said. Even though curing is important, prevention is more important than I say. Hydrographers could measure water level and tides, current, temperature and salinity, and not water depth only. Sea level rise may cause an increase in sedimentation flow and could suffocate corals. Heavy rain could cause a drop in ocean salinity that could cause a shock to corals and obstruct proper cell activities. High level of concentration of CO2 route to pH reduction and halt the calcification of coral. If we manage to monitor the changes and making a prediction of this occurrence, we can come up with a countermeasure to inoculate coral reef. Conclusion: coral reef are valuable gems found in naturehood. Coral reef is like a garden under the sea that can provide calmness. It is a home to more than 7,000 species of fish. Some could be exotic to be kept as a pet, and some could be a food source, which means that coral reef provides not only food, it also provides protection and occupation for mankind. A proper way to pay for these good deeds is by securing their survival and growth. But the threat is always there. High sea level could choke coral reef to death, heavy rain will shock the coral cells, and the massive absorption of CO2 will prevent the calcification of coral. To prevent all of this occurrence, we must keep track of the occurrence and come up with possible solution. Hopefully, by doing all of this, coral reef will not be in imminent danger anymore. So hopefully you guys enjoy watching our video. Thank you for watching.